We're live, yes, hi, yes, hello, yes. Welcome to another live reality game show podcast. I know it's been a while, but we are back. We are recapping Scotty Survivor, Lost in Time, episode 11 and 12, The Downfall of Dorit. With me is the Holly Willoughby of live reality games because she hosts everything, Naomi.
Thanks. Hi. I'm so glad to be back. I've missed a couple episodes, but I'm still a very loyal Scotty Survivor viewer, so I'm very happy to express my opinions and thoughts that have been pent up over time.
Great to hear. And as usual, we have one of the hosts of the show, Shane, as well as Michigan All Star Erin.
That's me.
And we are here recapping 2 episodes because, well, scheduling. The joys of working internationally. If you want to know more stuff, Shane and Erin did a season recap on the Scotty channel with a future Michigan player, Lindsay, and a future Yukon player in Cooper Rock.
Mhm.
So go check that out. But here we're going to talk about episode 11 and 12 of Scotty Survivor. So Naomi, we haven't seen you for a while. What were your thoughts of when we had you last to now?
Well, I think for me, the biggest moment was I was devastated when Vivian went home. That to me was like, fuck this. I don't want to watch this anymore. Screw this. I'm so mad. But I powered through and then I was rewarded
When
by
he went home, Naomi? Sorry.
when Vivian. Wait, hang on.
Oh, when Vivian
right?
went home. When Vivian went home, yeah.
You just freaked me out that I was forgetting her name for like 4 weeks in a row. No, and then I really was not expecting the way this episode went, right? Like, and to me, we have such a extremely strong final 5, and that is all you can ask for, I think, in College Survivor. You get out the goat at final 6, and then we don't have to watch them in the finale. So I'm thrilled.
Yeah, because this finale, unlike last season, starts at final 5 rather than final 6.
I think I would
So
take a note. I don't think Govind knew that at the time of filming because I think he challenged. He said, like, you've all made the finale. Let's see who makes the final 5 or something.
I think he legitimately thought that because that's what we did the first season. So like,
Right.
yeah, why did you change it to where like you're going to make final 6 its own episode and then final 5 onwards is going to be the
because the
final?
finale is long enough as it is, and that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Yeah, we all remember.
Yeah, I have to say, I completely agree. I think Govind, you never know when you're making an episode what's going to be a double boot, what's going to be, like, you never know in the moment. And I think that Govind had the right instincts, but, like, this episode had so much jam-packed into it, about, like, all the really intricate relationships that I'm not complaining that this is its own episode.
Yeah, we all remember the glory of the 2-hour plus finale of Scotty Survivor Steel City. So I think it's definitely appreciated that we have a final, probably a potential shorter finale. But
sorry.
Yeah, these people like to talk.
It's not even that. I can't spoil anything, but you'll find out.
Tiebreaker challenge. Assuming.
Well, I mean, I think this cast is. I think the dynamics were a little bit more complicated than in the first season, where it was pretty obvious who was going if X won immunity or if, like, for example.
No, he was voted off.
No, I'm saying like if.
Good job, Lee.
No, just like if for example, if Leo won immunity, like May was going. Like if anybody but Leo won, then he was going. Like it was very obvious. I think this one, especially at the final 5, is a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, definitely, because I love this final 5. I can see 2 people I know for sure are definitely making the final, and then it's a race for 3rd place between the other 3.
Okay. Prediction. Well, should we save the predictions for after we talk about the first episode in the bunch?
Yeah, so we start off, we're trying to recover from the Vivian blindside, and I completely forgot to mention how once Vivian was voted off, the table fell and the voting urn broke.
Oh my god.
Karma. It was karma.
It was the curse of Vivian.
Rip Sarah's table. That's all I gotta say.
Oh no. The girl
Rip the
cannot take a break
urn.
from-
The urn, that was $14 at Target.
So everyone's trying to recover from the Vivian vote. Well, mainly Abby, because she's crying again.
I don't think she was here. Abby did not cry this episode.
Did she not?
Last one, no. She didn't cry when Vivian got out, which is shocking.
It's the one time she doesn't cry.
I think it's probably because like she didn't feel responsible, and she's like, "That's still my friend that I'll talk to," you know.
Low-key, and she knew that her chances were better without Vivian there.
Also fair.
Yeah, because even Hayden was also on the bottom. It's like, I'm so happy that Vivian is gone, and I had no reason to do with it because that's a way for me to get Vivian's vote.
Mm-hmm.
Which could be seen, but I mostly see it as like, well, maybe Vivian will look like, why didn't you get me out?
I don't know why Abby would have any incentive to turn on Vivian when she was already on the bottom. It doesn't make any sense. So
yeah. And so yeah, Xavier flipped. He voted for Vivian to get revenge for Anna. We'll see how that turns out for him in his future. And his reason for voting Vivian is because it's Vivian.
I mean, fair. I mean, he's not wrong.
I agree. I think that is a fair reason. Like at certain points, and especially once you are getting down to like I think final 8 and final 6 are both like 8 to 6 are like spots where like the big threats go. Like that's typically how it goes. You kind of visualize, you see like who is going to be potentially winning, and that's where you're starting to think about your end game. So it's like, I want to get out people that I know can beat me. And so like I think that Vivian going out in that spot, it made sense. It was tragic, and you know, I was devastated, but I think like it was a good move, which is not something that I can say for a lot of moves this season.
I think where it was not a good move is that I actually think he would have had the opportunity to get out Vivian the next round, because I just think that Nadia was clearly, like, we saw what happened to him. Like, clearly it was not the right decision. Like, yeah, Vivian was going to take him out, and it's Vivian, but like he would have still been in.
Yeah, it was definitely a situation where it's like, it was a good decision, but just not the best decision.
Yeah, I think it was a good decision, wrong timing.
Yeah.
To me, my Survivor opinion is kind of that you should always try to keep in a person who will work with you over a person who will not. So Vivian constantly extending the olive branch to Xavier and saying like, hey, I do want to work with you. Like the timing's just not right, or this isn't working. Like she is still constantly showing him, whether he trusts it or not, that she would like to work with him at some point. It reminds me a lot of like Holly and Chris Thomas in Maryland All-Stars, where they're like just constantly like kind of working it together, but not really, but they still work to protect each other in a way that they don't work to protect a lot of other people. And it gets them both pretty darn far. And I guess, like, you know, it's tough because I do think Abby is beatable in some instances. You know, if you're looking at the duo of Abby Vivian, right? Like Abby, I think could be perceived as like kind of erratic for the puppet master thing, although I don't think that's true. I think she found like 3 fucking idols. Like, you know, like that's the W for me right there. But I think that, you know, the perception of the jury is like, what's going on with the puppet master? Maybe it's better to keep Abby in the game. You think you can beat her versus Vivian, but I don't know. I feel like Vivian wasn't the right move for Xavier, as we've all said.
God, if those two had been at the end together, that would have been a battle.
Abby and Vivian.
Oh my God! Like
it would have been the best season ever.
My dream final 3 would have been Abby, Vivian, and Ethan, because what the hell?
Damn it, Ethan! Why did you have to screw it over?
I mean, because he's smart and knows that he can't do that.
Well, he doesn't want me to be happy. That's for sure.
He doesn't want happiness. He wants to cause chaos.
So, clearly, his thinking didn't do him so many favors.
No. Oh yeah, Xavier kind of regrets maybe voting Vivian doesn't see the full picture. And more stuff about the Dark Realm comes out, to where Nadia accidentally texts Xavier, should I confront Xavier about voting me? And then she just outside says, yeah, did you vote me? And Xavier just says, yeah.
It's 11 weeks in. They are still so messy. Like, it's just, they haven't gotten any less messy from the first episode. It's absolutely insane.
No.
I've been saying like this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lee.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I've been saying this from the beginning. Where did you find these people?
I was going to say, I think a rule of College Survivor is always triple check where you're sending your messages to. We've seen so many wrong messages sent over time. Like, you better triple check that little to box. Make sure.
And it wasn't like because we use Discord as like we have like a Scotty Survivor server, but like it wasn't on Discord. She was texting him. Like,
it's just like regular text message.
Yeah.
How do you not know whether you were not texting Henry or Valen and you were texting Xavier? It's just, girl, come on.
And even if it was on Discord, his Discord name says his full name. So it's not like one of the like usernames that's like confusing on who it is.
Who's this profile pic? Who has the random Mario person as their profile? And, well, more talk about the superlatives. Apparently, so Abby can swim. Allegedly.
I forget who said this, but this was really giving Lucy's I can survive on a desert island. Like, it's so true.
It's like, I can swim. I can survive on a desert island. I just can't win Survivor.
Take it too personal. You can't, because it's like it might be like 3 people chose you, and then the rest of the votes are scattered to the wind. Like, it's not a whole group of people saying that you can't swim. It's okay, girl.
It's also not like they don't think you can swim. Just that of this group, they think you might be least likely to be able to swim. When you have such limited options, it's like it is hard not to take it personally, but it's also like you understand a little bit more.
Also, I think this is like another like key thing. In Lucy's case, I think she was like actually offended.
Oh, she was. Oh, yeah.
In Abby's case, Abby was just being like she was just miffed for the camera. Like, like she wasn't like bent out of shape the way that Lucy was. Like, no way. She's just not that type of person.
Yeah, although can't survive on an island and doesn't look like you can swim are kind of two very different things. Because
I don't know. I think they're kind of similar.
I just really don't see how you can look at someone and be like, you look like you can't swim. But I can look at someone and be like, yeah, there's no way you're able to survive on a desert island on your own.
I don't know. I think anybody could. That's the thing.
I don't think I could.
Let's put it to the test. So we'll get Lucy on a desert island and we'll push Abby into a pool.
I mean, that would
my God.
Woo!
Immunity challenge.
Actual survival challenge, it sounds like.
Yeah. So it's a classic endurance challenge to hold up your arm and don't spill the water. Haley puts up the wrong arm. Poor girl.
I thought the funniest part to me was when like the random prod member came to join and like gave Henry a friend, because he was like on that side on his own. It was like 2, 2, 2, and then just Henry, which I thought was so funny. And then the random prod member just was like, "Sure, I'll do it too." I would have been pissed if some random prod member beat me. I would have been pissed.
That's TJ. Yeah, he'll be more involved in Scotty Survivor in the future. That's all I'll say about that. But
future player.
No.
No, I know what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, he just wanted to give it a try, and we were like, I guess there's really no harm, so like, why not? And he didn't beat, like, he started after all of them, so it's like it's not like he beat anybody. Like, I guess he did beat Xavier and Nikhil, but like that's not a low bar.
Yikes.
I really have to applaud Govin's commitment to this challenge. Govin really said, like, I'm gonna do the most and be the host with the most, and he was. And like, it was great. It was very funny. I was entertained through watching a bunch of people suffer with their arms in the air. It was awesome.
I agree with that a lot. Yeah, Govin really made this challenge.
Yeah, Govin was really showing off his hosting chops.
My favorite part was Abby rapping Hamilton and then offering people $50 and then dropping. Offered $50
on accident. That was funny.
I'll give you $50. No. I think and good on her for rapping Hamilton.
I mean,
I would have
in the scavenger hunt too, but we just didn't show it.
Honestly, I would have lost my fucking mind if somebody was singing next to me. Like, I would have been like, I'm out. I can't do this. Like, I just
balance.
That's the strategy. Annoy people to get out of there. That's probably what I do. I mean, I do that regularly.
It just didn't work on her. So
yeah, Valen was like vibing along with it. It's like, okay, go off, girl.
Not me.
Also,
I would have lost it.
Something funny for me is like Abby was being like, "Are you gonna vote for me, Nadia?" Maybe.
That killed me. That was so funny. She was like, "Will you not vote for me?" She was like, "Maybe."
It's like, okay, thanks for reassuring me.
It's got huge. It's got huge like when they're on the polls in Maryland and like they're going, you know, someone's going back and forth to relay all the information because like in Michigan you guys are like nice and close together, but like in Maryland it's like you got to sprint to tell somebody something. And it's like those vibes of like, are you okay? Do you want to work together? Like all the way down the other side.
Yeah, our lampposts. I guess spoiler, we didn't do an endurance at the end of this one because we had just done an endurance challenge at Final 7, so we were like, we don't need to do another one like right there. So yeah, but the light posts at Carnegie Mellon are like kind of jank.
I mean, we saw it last season. They're all like very close together.
Well, and we also saw from this season that they fucking open at the bottom and we can hide and idle in them.
Oh. I'm sure Abby will find it at some point. So everyone starts to drop down. Abby's like about to cry because she falls. It's down, and then it's down to Nadia and Valen. They hold their arms up for 2 hours and 40 minutes to where Valen wins. So congrats to
Nadia, man.
They actually, I don't know. I think we just didn't catch it on camera, but at the right time because we just were like, we're not filming you for like this long. Like we knew they were going forever. And at one point, I think Nadia like begged Valen to drop. She was like, Valen, like you don't need this. Like I do, but Valen was insistent.
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised Valen didn't drop for Nadia since
I think she just wanted to win something.
Yeah, it kind of shows a bit of initiative on her part. And I've been making this Valen Mallory comparison for a while, and Mallory won the Final 8 immunity. Final 7. One of the two.
Oh boy.
That's not a bad comparison.
Yeah, because they're playing very similar games.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of comparison there.
Will she get the same placements as Mallory? We'll only find out coming up. I'd laugh if it was a tie again.
Oh my god.
Well, nothing can beat the College Survivor org final council tie, double tie, triple tie,
double tie.
Naomi, it tied 4-4-2, then 5-5, and then Cooper James broke the tie.
Okay. I'll go to
and he betrayed the Cooper Alliance.
There was no Cooper Alliance.
There wasn't. Well, no, they did talk, but they called it the Erin Alliance. They're both friends with me.
Yeah. After the iconic 4th placer of the season.
Different Erin. Wrong Erin.
No, the right. Yeah, I love him. He deserves
Yeah, AA Ron.
Anyway, back to Scotty Survivor.
Back to Scotty Survivor. Everyone is in pain.
Oh my god, I felt so bad for Haley. She was like, I have to play the cello. Like, my shoulder is my livelihood. I'm so dead.
Queen.
Really? I will die on this hill. Haley is the comic relief of this season. Like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
like
yeah, she's not. She's more
obviously
just a
Abby is
cello
the puppet
girl.
master, but like Haley's confessionals, like okay, Haley, like she was so when she was like thinking about the season, she was like, "Oh, everybody's gonna hate watching me. I feel so boring." And then I was like watching Haley's confessional. I was like, Haley, I think you might want to rethink that because like you're the funniest person on this cast. No lie.
Yeah.
It's so true.
True. It's like once Tina left, Haley took her place to be like the confessional gold.
Mm-hmm.
That for Randy tribe, like a lot of confessional gold. Except
We
for
didn't
Joe.
really expect, I'm not gonna lie, like we thought that was gonna be the more low-key tribe. But
With Ethan,
and Ranjan.
well, okay, yeah, I guess that's fair, but like the other two were just like so much. Like I guess maybe Dorit was way less energy, but like in their interviews they came off like hella aggressive. Especially Anna. She told me to take a Xanax in our partner.
oh my god.
And look where that got her.
Yeah, not very far.
I just have to
Maybe
say,
all
I
stars.
think Haley's confessional in the next episode where she like impersonates Abby, telling her that she's not gonna play the idol on her, is so fucking funny and like is so good. Like the way that she does the Abby impersonation is like, yes, these are two people who have clearly like Skyped a lot, talked a lot, and she's got it down pat.
Not Skype.
Or Zoom. Sorry, I'm old again, I guess.
Discord
Whatever.
call. Yeah, Abby has a lot of tells.
Well,
I
she's
think
in the beginning. She said she's not a good liar.
Yeah, she was upfront about that from the start. She was like, I'm not a good liar. And like she's not. I think that's a big thing we've noticed this season. If somebody asks her a direct question, she either like clams up, she just like does not speak. She just sits there like with her normal Abby smile on her face, like
you can see like the fear in her eyes just be like, oh shit, they know.
Exactly. It's like she's never prepared to lie. Like she's just not prepared enough. It's like it catches her off guard every time she thinks she has to, and then at that point it's too late. I feel like that's what it is.
It's very like shit, need to think of something. Can't think of anything.
Exactly.
It reminds me a lot of Megan from Michigan 4, where like the smiling assassin of like, you know, she really is the smiling assassin of like, she's always just got this big, if she's not crying, she's got a huge smile on her face. And like
is crying, honestly, she's still smiling.
I know. I love her.
Well, she really is the Megan of the season.
It's kind of crazy how much Abby smiles even when she's like very upset.
Yeah.
You can't trust somebody that's always smiling. Or whatever Nate said. So Abby pretty kind of thinks she's screwed. So she pitches to everyone your ideal final four. Yourself, 2 goats, and somebody everyone will unanimously agree on to vote off. So she starts pitching this idea. Erin, as somebody who's actually been to a final four that I've witnessed, is this a strategy? Was this yours during Michigan, the aired Michigan season you were on?
It's also, well, it's harder when it's like when you know it's a final 2 versus a final 3, because when it is a final 3 in this scenario, like I think that is a fine strategy, but then you also have to worry about like the thing about goats is that you never assume that they're going to win challenges. So at that point it's kind of like at that point, it's like if you do run with that strategy and you bring 2 goats and then somebody that like is the top threat to the final 4, then like between you and that other top threat, like one of you is going to have to win the challenge. And so it's risky because it does involve a challenge, and usually like you do like people who are bigger threats, you usually assume that they have bigger challenge prowess as well. So it's risky for sure. It was not necessarily like, it's not necessarily my pitch. I don't know. I think you want to get down with people that there's always going to be somebody that you like maybe are worried about that you can't beat, but getting down at least with people that you trust and people that you know aren't going to vote for you. It's like, it's not a bad strategy to have somebody there that you like, you know, people are going to vote for over you. But risky.
I do think that Abby has like nothing to lose though, because
I think it was a great pitch for Abby.
oh yeah,
I think that's exactly what she needed to say, and like, yeah, I think that was honestly her best pitch, considering it's like far too late to build relationships and build loyalty with people. So just saying like, I know you're gonna vote me out eventually, just make it last. So that, yeah, I'll help you bring your goats to Final Four, and then we'll like fight it out from there.
Yeah, I'll help you win. Then who am I? Am I going to win a challenge? Imagine Abby winning an individual challenge.
Yeah, I also think that if you are the person getting that pitch from Abby, you think about it, you're like, oh, well, there's the danger of bringing Abby, but at the same time, if you are the person to vote out Abby at 4, if you are able to assure your allies at, who will be coming to 3 and say, if I say to Lee and Erin, like, Lee and Erin, let's go to Final 3. I'm with you at 1,000%. We're going to vote out Shane at Final 4. And, let's say Shane wins and then Lee has to go home. Well, I've just been an incredible ally to Lee the whole time. Maybe I don't even vote. Maybe I make it like a 2-1-1, right? Like you put yourself in a position where the person who goes home wants to vote for you. Like that's the thing I think is great about being that person, is like, if you can shore up a jury vote in case the Final 4 person you want to eliminate wins, or you vote out the Final 4 person, you have a lot of like room to create moves that make you seem like an ideal winner.
yeah,
Absolutely. Anyway,
Sounds
Shane
good.
coming up and voting out Naomi, right?
Don't make
Yeah,
this
we're
like a fucking
definitely-
Sylvester Final 4, damn it. I'll drag any of you. I don't care.
Oh wait, and then you're
I
just doing
can't
it.
drag, then the finale won't be uploaded.
Well, we can't eliminate Shane since he is the host.
I'll do it anyways. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's okay. We can wait another 6 months.
Wait
Yeah,
6 months
dragging
and then
Shane
we'll
Peter.
go. So pretty much that's what's happening with Abby's side. Ooh, someone's popular.
Sorry, that was me. It was a political text.
Happens.
And so people are starting to realize Old Zaman is still there. Nobody's been voted off, and they're trying to come off as a not tight trio, but it's sort of half working for some and half not working for others. And they decided to target Xavier because he's the next threat in line, and I'm pretty sure Nadia does not trust him after targeting her in the dark round. And Xavier's now flipped over to Abby and Haley's side, and they're trying to go for Henry because he's the biggest threat out of that lot. And then out of all the people to give power to, you give it to Nikhil. Xavier's extra vote is the deciding vote on who goes home.
I love this arc for Nikhil. It's about damn time.
It only took till the final 7 for him to actually have a storyline.
What's funniest to me is that it's not like Nikhil put himself in this position. It just got thrust upon him, It's not like he strategically placed himself in the middle and made himself the swing vote. Somebody just told him, Nikhil, you're the swing vote. And he was like, oh, how fun for me.
This is not a new thing for Nikhil. Like, Nikhil has been the swing vote in several votes. Like when Anna went home, when Aol went home, and normally his plans don't work.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. He usually shoots himself in the foot, or somebody pulls out an idol.
This one is different, though, I think, because, like, he doesn't have somebody else that he's, like, 100% voting with for this one.
Nadia. He's definitely voting with Nadia. Actually, no, not even. He's just definitely not voting for Nadia. Because that was the one rule that he gave to I don't even know what to call it, the Abby Alliance.
Yeah.
It was like, I'll vote off an Old Zaman as long as it ain't Nadia. And they're like, cool, we'll do Henry.
Right.
Because nobody ever wants to bring up Valen's name, which great on her.
I mean, yeah, if I were them, I wouldn't see the reason to vote out Valen at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they bring up Henry, and it's pretty much everyone trying to convince Nikhil, vote with us, please. And he's pretty much telling both sides, there's a chance I'm not going to vote with you. And it's clear this guy has never seen Survivor.
Which
So
is
Henry just...
He talks about his favorite season being Token Teens.
Token.
Oh, how did I forget that? I probably...
Yeah, that was so rough.
Yeah,
I rewound it to check that that's what he said, and I laughed so hard.
Tokatins.
And like he knows JT's name, like he's seen Survivor.
Wait, he has?
That's what we were just talking about.
I thought you just picked a random season. It's like, I'll just say I like to this one.
Oh my god.
No, he literally was talking about, like, that's like a lot of detail to know about a season to like be able to talk about it.
I think there's something to be said for like honest gameplay like that, like being upfront, and when everybody, and especially like I think that would have been the wrong way to go about it if he had made himself the swing vote. But because it was kind of forced upon him, he has the ability to be, he knows that the two sides aren't going to get together and vote him out. He knows that. So he can just kind of play it like, listen, you know I'm the swing vote. I know I'm the swing vote. Let's discuss. Like, give me your pitch. And he was like, okay, I've heard your pitch. Maybe I'll go with it. Maybe I won't. You'll find out at Tribal. But like, everybody knows, and nobody's going to turn it against him, at least that round.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's my like kind of big theory about like College Survivor, and I think I've talked about it in general, of like the idea of not abandoning the people on the other side. Like, because to me, having a lacking relationship with Nikhil, and you know, I think the whole Abby storyline is so funny of like, I'm gonna beat you, I want to vote you out before I go home, right? It's really funny, but also I think there's a world where like if you don't communicate with people on the other side, if you abandon those relationships and get really lazy and complacent in where you are, you lose the ability in a moment like this to maybe sway Nikhil more effectively. Like, I just think that there's such an importance to speaking with everybody at all times, even if it makes you seem a little schemy. Like, this opportunity comes along and it's like, wouldn't it be great if I had a relationship with Nikhil that he would feel more secure in working with me? But maybe I'm just talking out of my ass here.
No, it's definitely good things. Like, if you don't have relationships with any sort of relationship with the jury members, then why will they vote for you? I mean, Erin, your season literally had that with some of the jury members being like, I'm pretty sure Ben was like, I had no conversation with Devin and I had one with Dylan. I'm going to vote for Dylan to win.
Yeah, I think it is huge. Like, yeah, because nobody, especially when it is, you know, you're not on an island with people. Like, you are, you know, in college, you're living your life. It's like people just want a chance to not only like talk to you strategically, but also like just get to know you. You know, these are potentially going to be your friends for the next few years. So it's like you do want to just build relationships for that as well. And nobody wants to, when you're on the jury, nobody wants to vote for somebody that they haven't talked to or that hasn't put in any energy with them. And like, yeah, that's even in season 3, like Will did not vote for Devin because Devin basically said at Final Tribal, like, our relationship did not matter to me. And so it's like, yeah, the relationships with the jurors are definitely huge. I think that it's certainly like, you hope that people prioritize strategy and gameplay. But part of that is still like, yeah, nobody wants to vote for somebody that didn't put in the time to even talk to them.
It reminds me of that Mad Men meme that's like, I'm sorry for you, I don't think about you at all. Like,
right.
that's what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
But I also think that hot take, I actually think Nikhil played this pretty well. Like, I thought that he did a good job of like really keeping all of the power, right? Like, it wasn't necessary. Like, he didn't say no on my, like, he very much said, I will think about it and I will let you know. But it allowed the power to stay with him rather than being spread out to other people.
I think he made the wrong move, though.
I agree.
Yeah, obviously.
I agree with both of you because I think that, like, at that point, that other group, like the Abby, Haley, Xavier group, just got created. Like, those are at least 2 threats that are bigger than you. And I think the thing that about like the Zaman 3 that people like, I feel like everybody's like, well, none of these 3 are like top tier players. Like, they're not super big threats. All 3 of them are kind of able to like fly under the radar. And like the only thing that makes them threatening is that there's 3 of them and that they're clearly together. So I think that should have been the opportunity to like, yeah, when you're going into final 6, you don't want a strong 3 together.
Yeah, that's definitely very messed up. And we see Henry trying to like take the power away from Nikhil because he knows he's the other name. So he goes to Abby and Haley, be like, "Hey, how about instead of relying on Nikhil, I'll vote with you guys to vote off Nadia because we have to bring up Nadia."
I mean, at that point, they all not just because of that. I think that is part of it, but like it is pretty clear to all of them. Like Xavier says it, like Nikhil's not with us. Like they just know. They know that he's not with them. So instead of if somebody else comes to you, if Henry's coming to you, you might as well, okay, like this is the best chance we have because we know Nikhil is going with them.
Yeah.
And Xavier doesn't know that it's on him. So he thinks it's Abby.
Oh, I thought he had an idea that it'd be him.
He says he does. I don't think he did.
Yeah, because votes come in, 3 Nadia, 3
I think
Xavier.
Abby told him morning of, but like up until that point, he didn't know. Because like, Abby was pretty sure, like when she talked to Henry, she said in the next episode, she was like, "I knew it wasn't me, because why would they tell me it's me? Why would Henry, like?" She was like, "Henry's not voting with us, and why would he tell me that it's me?" Like they obviously just wanted her to flush an idol.
Mm-hmm. Shane, I do have a question for you though. Like, is Abby a threat to win the game at this point? Like when Abby, you know, if I'm Abby and I say to Nikhil, like, I'm a threat in front of you, is that true, or is it more just like Abby's kind of like crazy and dangerous because we don't know what she's gonna do? Like, is it the unknown factor, or is it the fact that she's like played idols and like has a lot of stuff up her sleeve?
This is what I'm gonna say about it. I think it's a get out. From my perspective, I can't speak for like how the jury viewed, but if I was viewing this game and if I was in it and I saw Abby do what I was doing, and me knowing what I know about College Survivor, Abby would have to go at all costs because her story arc, I think it's like not parallel, but like almost as good, if not better, than Chris Thomas's arc of like being the puppet master, getting exposed, completely losing all parts of her game, and then having an incredible rise back to the top to win the game. To me, that would be a like get her out at all costs before she can do that. So when I was watching this, at this point, I was like, this is the time to get her out. Final 7. Even if you don't get her out, get her idol out. Like she doesn't have any protection at that point. I was baffled that they did not even think about it. But then again, I'm speaking from my perspective. The jury, obviously, we've seen there are some people that seem to be pretty mad at Abby.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure everyone watching this series is like, how is Abby still in after what happened to her at the merge?
It doesn't make any sense. Literally every single person was like, oh yeah, Abby has no game. She's dead. She's literally dead in the water. And we all thought that too. When I was watching this, I was like, okay, we'll get maybe one more week out of Abby. Maybe. And then she's still here.
She's still here. She's still here and in the final 5. And Xavier is not because he's gone.
And not only
with an idol.
In the final 5, but she's in the final 4 because she has an idol.
And do people knew she had an idol, or was it just like a bunch of assumptions?
They were just speculating. Like nobody else was playing it. Like
when she's found 4, like it's kind of pretty safe to assume. And I think that might also be helping to protect her, because the assumption of an idol or the existence of an idol definitely scares people, especially when they don't necessarily have the votes to split. So it's like you have to play around that, and you have to be like, maybe we can't vote for this person because we do think that they have an idol.
But it's like worst case, like Valen has said, like, oh, I don't really care that much if Nadia goes. And like worst case, you've been talking about wanting to get Abby out for weeks. Throw your votes on Abby. At least get the idol flushed. She's not protected. You're not in the situation where if she like loses a challenge, she can play the idol at final 5. Like that's really dangerous. I think it was the wrong move to go after Xavier because they let Abby into the final 6 with an idol, and then she won a challenge, so they let her into the final 4.
Yeah, and I also have to say, I think that there's something very pressing about breaking up Abby and Haley. And I think that what you saw was that they were such a united front in the final 6 that you feel more comfortable working with them because like they are together. They're not flipping on each other. They're not going against each other. Like, and the fact that Haley, I mean, I have a lot of admiration for Haley in the fact that she was told by her closest ally, I'm not going to play an idol on you. And she took that in stride and just went and did what she needed to do. Like, I was really impressed by Haley in this most recent episode because she didn't whine and complain that her closest ally wasn't going to play an idol on her. She just like made it fucking happen. Like, that's what I love about her. She's so great. And like, I also love Abby because Abby is smart enough to say, I can't play an idol on you right now. I need to save this for myself. It's genius. Gameplay from both of them, genius.
I think too, it's like Haley knows she needs to get Abby out. Like, she's not blind to it, but she knows that if she gets Abby out now, she's like, what is she doing? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's like how she came to the realization about like Vivian. It's like, yes, Vivian is a huge threat to win. If I take her out at final 9, what does that do for my position? Absolutely nothing, because I'm in a terrible position.
Yeah, when all your allies are the biggest threats, but they're the only ones willing to work with you.
Yeah. I mean, she has people that are willing to work with her, but they're not showing that until really this episode.
Yeah, they're not showing it until they're getting the boot. Because now Xavier's gone. What do we think of Xavier this season?
I think he played very well. Like, I think he was a strong player. I think that he made the right allies, and I think he did have like a pretty solid resume. I feel like he might have suffered a little bit from the just like the perception of like he won the first immunity comp, and I think that might have like, you know, made people think of him as a little bit more of a threat. I think that he was built up maybe a little bit more than he should have been. But I think especially like since he lost AL so early, he was in like, and Anna, obviously, he was still very upset about that. But like, he lost people along the way and was able to recover. He had somebody else that literally played an idol on him. He always had people that were like willing to work with him and like not just willing, but wanting to work with him. And I think that was like, that's always a really important and strong thing to have in the game. So I think I respect his game a lot. That's my in memoriam for Xavier. I think he did a great job. And I hope to see him back in All-Stars.
I think that Xavier fell victim to big move-itis, which most of this cast did. Let's be real. No, but I agree with Erin. I think Xavier played going into Merge, Xavier was my pick to win. I thought this kid is, especially when Ethan played the idol on him, I was like, okay, he's going to make it really far. So when he got out, I was shocked because to me, I thought this kid is the winner. Like, he's literally going to win because at this point, there's nothing that he is saying that's putting a target on him. Like, really putting a target on him after he survived that. Like, I thought for sure after he got the idol played on him, they would just be like, okay, let's vote Xavier in the dark round. But no, they voted for Ethan. And that says a lot. So I just think that he had kind of like a strong like social game that kept him in the know of pretty much everything. I think he, out of anybody, was the most adaptable to working with just about anybody. Like, Henry is adaptable and like working with people when his name is on the table or like when somebody does something to piss him off. But like Xavier went and voted like Parker. Like, I don't know why he did that. Like, that didn't have any, like, Parker was fine with him. You know what I mean? I think he was much more adaptable and willing to play with everybody than the rest of this cast.
I feel like he also, Xavier had like a lot of the upside that I think we do see in a lot of like male college survivor winners where they're just really nice. Like a Santi or even like a Dylan in some cases where it's like, yeah, just a nice guy. And like, he is so nice and personal to everybody. And then suddenly he's in the end and you're like, I would vote for a nice person to win Survivor. I do think that losing AL was actually a big benefit to him, even though it doesn't seem like it at the time. And I think that the fact that Ethan played an idol on him, which is still like bazonkers, but again shows what a nice person he is, that Ethan would want to keep him around and was sort of sick at the idea of losing him. And I think that Xavier played pretty darn well. He wasn't the most dynamic character, but I also think that in a season of really like kind of crazy people, right? Like it's better to take the backseat and then sort of walk into the end and be like, oh my God, I was so nice. Isn't that crazy? So I think he did a good job of like being more low key than a lot of crazy people around him, who I love very much. Don't get me wrong. Crazy in the best way.
We love crazy.
I mean, yeah, we called him the golden boy. They literally all called that to him to his face.
He probably took it as a compliment.
Oh, he sure did. His ego was completely inflated. It was terrifying. I was like, oh my God, stop telling him this, please.
Stop calling him the golden boy. It's like calling David in Australia the golden god.
Yeah.
Xavier, see this? I love you, but I'm sorry. Your ego needs to be taken down.
Ooh!
Well, maybe being booted at 7th place would help with that. I just see this as karma. Don't vote for Vivian.
I agree with that.
Yeah, literally.
Right, we start the next episode with Haley and Abby going off on Nikhil.
I mean, they're at this point. How can you not root for Abby and Haley? Like,
oh yeah, it's impossible.
Absolutely.
And they have every right to go off on Nikhil. Every right.
Yeah, when you have the choice between a trio of people that have been together since day one and a guy that you keep getting called his extra vote, I want to get rid of the guy that's been working with me. Oh yeah, because apparently he hated him for some time. I feel like we always get the stories like Nikhil just randomly hates people. We never understand why.
Well, because he doesn't explain it, and none of us understand it.
It's like,
copy. Got it.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, you don't get the story because there's no basis behind it. He just
it's like
very. I was gonna say very big brother of him, just like some random ass hate like that makes no goddamn sense. And you're like, okay,
literally.
all right, fine, chill out.
It's like episode I hate Ricky, episode I hate Xavier, episode I hate Abby. Although the Abby one stands cultural.
The thing is, like, he had like not the worst game sense in some parts. Like when he was like, "Oh, I should form a secret alliance with Ricky." Like that was smart.
It
was, and
then Ricky got out. But then his actions made him look so like crazy. Like when he went up to Vivian and did the same thing, and then sent her home 5 minutes later. She was like, "Oh, we have to get Vivian." Like, "Oh, I hate Vivian." It's like, then why would you just ask her for a secret alliance? Like, huh?
And then vote for her.
Just in case she stayed, maybe.
I just offer it. Like, why tell anybody that you made a secret alliance with Ricky?
Yeah,
like,
that doesn't count. That's like, I don't know. I think I don't know. We'll talk more about. I'll give him like a full in memoriam as well. But like, I don't know that Nikhil like. I feel like he was playing this game. When I say operating at a different level than everyone else, like I don't mean that in a complimentary way. Like everybody else is operating up here, and Nikhil is operating in this game like here.
I will say that Nikhil, it's not going to be aired, but Nikhil asked a final tribal question that all of us went, oh! It's like literally like all of us like cringed like audibly. Like,
oh god, what did he ask?
So were you gonna vote for me to win?
No, it was like personal. Like he went into like people's personal lives, and it was like we were all like,
oh no.
So it's just that you're gonna be everybody's questions except for Nikhil's.
No, Nikhil has other questions, but like that one,
we're just gonna cut out part of it.
Like, yikes.
To me, I think that like for Nikhil, it's this constant thing of when you're playing Survivor and you don't think through what the consequences of your actions are. When you go like, okay, I'll tell this person this, and like that'll be fine. Like think about how Vivian thought long and hard about the consequences of lying to Parker and working with Parker and all the shit that she did because she was like, oh my God, this guy's going to hate me, right? And you can just go up to somebody and make it, like, the thing is, I wouldn't have blamed anybody in this game if they brought Nikhil to the final 3, because there is no way in hell anybody would vote for him to win the game. So when they voted him out, I was kind of like, I mean, if you want to win, you take Nikhil at the end, but I'm not mad at it. Like, see you later, bye.
I think Abby was like when she was like, I'm afraid Nikhil was going to get votes. I think that is more of Abby being like, I'm so terrified to bring Nikhil to the end and potentially lose to him.
That's so fair.
I mean, absolutely. Yep. I could see people voting for him for the laugh.
She's valid to vote him out because it keeps Haley in. But Valen voting out Nikhil makes no sense.
That makes no sense. I think it does make sense for, like, yeah, for Abby in particular, just because people are afraid of her or, like, mad at her. And, like, she probably has a big worry of, like, a bitter jury and people voting not for other people, but against her. And, like, so it is a serious issue of, like, I know that, like, I should win against anybody. So I need to make sure that I at least, like, if I don't, because of these bitter ass people, that I feel good at least about, like, who I'm losing to.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's totally fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I can see people being like, I'm going to vote for Nikhil because I don't want to vote for you.
Right.
And you know what? She's not wrong. Like, that was something that was discussed. Like, I think that is a very strong possibility in certain circumstances. If the right people were there, I think it could have happened.
Yeah, that's so sad.
I think
on the jury members.
Yeah, I think they were like, this game. If we've learned anything from these episodes, you can just tell how much emotion was behind all of this cast. Like, most of them did not play strategically. They played emotionally with their hearts.
Absolutely.
And so at the end, they're going to be voting with their hearts.
Yeah.
Just listening to Roundtable, like, that was clear. I was like, wow, these people are, like, really not thinking about, like, the strategy of the game. And obviously we're just sitting on the call, like, listening to people bicker, particularly, like, we did Roundtable, like, at this point, like, right at the finale. So, like, you can assume that, like, everybody's in. But, like, particularly, like, Vivian and Ethan are, like, arguing with each other about, like, what the right gameplay style is.
Yeah, Ethan's like, I want to vote for my friend Vivian, but she did shit in the game.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and he's definitely one of those people that's like, I'm going to vote for Nikhil just because I think it'd be fun. Which is great in, like, okay, you're a fun person, but, like, you don't have to shit on other people just because they didn't play nice.
I will say,
that sounds mean.
I will say, going into the finale, I thought any of these people sitting in the final 3 would get votes. Like, I figured, okay, not one person is going to be a 0 vote finalist, like, with this final 5. Like, going into final 5 last time, I was like, okay, Sarah's probably going to be a 0 vote finalist just because the jury is so mad at her. And they weren't even as mad at her until Leo came. And then they were like, okay, we're never voting for Sarah.
Thanks, Leo.
Here's my question though, is what path does Henry have forward? Because I'm not against Henry by any means, but I feel like when I think about, we have Haley, Abby, Henry, Valen, and Nadia. First of all, 4 iconic women in the final 4. We love to see it. Second
just
of
like
all,
last season.
Yeah. Wasn't Leo in the final 4?
Oh, I thought you meant like 4 iconic women in the final 5.
There we go. Okay, just clarify. What is Henry's path to victory, and how does it differ, especially from like Valen, especially from like the Pink Tribe? What's his sticking point to winning?
Well, I mean, I just think that he really has been in control these last 3 votes, except I guess not Nikhil, but like, if you think about the power players in the game, he's responsible for pretty much all of them going. Ethan, Vivian, and Xavier in a row. And he manipulated Xavier into doing exactly what he wanted with Vivian and then voted him out the next round. The problem with Henry, I think, when you're watching Henry, is that Henry doesn't give any confessionals. So we don't get to see the same parts of the game that we producers saw as like, oh, Henry has a legitimate chance. Like Vivian at one point was like, I would vote for Henry over Abby. Like, and that's not a joke. Like, and just knowing what we know about Vivian and Abby's relationship, that's how much the jury was respecting Henry's game, because they're like, nobody is voting for this guy. Like, he has been in control and nobody's batting an eye. Like when Ethan was in control of the game, everybody was like, all right, we got to get Ethan out. But that's not really happening to Henry.
I think he's like benefiting from, this is going to sound mean, but he's benefiting from being boring. Like, because everyone batted an eye when Ethan was in control, because Ethan was like, hey everyone, I'm in control.
I'm going to solely vote out one person.
Yeah. And Ethan was like very showy about it, but I think it shows the different styles of being in control. And like when Henry is doing it, it's subtle manipulation, and it's very subtle. It's very like downplayed. And so it's not as intriguing to watch. It's not as obvious even to watch. So like, yeah, in my mind, he's not an obvious winner. And I'm not hearing other people talk about him in confessionals as much either, of being like, you know, I'm super worried about Henry. Like, people are a little bit more now, but like, I know people like Abby was pitching to people like, you don't want to sit against Henry in the final 3 or like things like that. So I think it's interesting, but I feel like, yeah, I think he's just benefiting from being boring, quite frankly.
Yeah, he's definitely going off the fact like he is more of a quieter player than like Nadia and Abby. I think for Henry to win, Valen and Haley have to be gone. If he's in the end with Abby and Nadia, then I can see Henry winning, because
I think it's the other way around. I think he has a much better chance against Haley and Valen than he does against Nadia and Abby. I think if he's there against Abby, and Nadia, that's gonna be a brawl. Like, that is a fight, because all 3 of them played very different games. And on one hand, you've got Abby, who's the puppet master with her subject that she tormented throughout the game, Nadia, who still is there and she never got out. And then you have Henry,
master.
And then you have Henry, who manipulated both of them. So
yeah, all these people, I can see a jury member voting for any of them. I mean, I've been doing like write-ups and like, okay, who's each jury member going to be voting for, and like been posting them everywhere.
Yeah, they have legitimate arguments. It's true.
And another thing I think Henry has over like Nadia, for example, because I've been saying out of the final 5, Nadia has the least chance to win. And I'm still sticking by that, because Henry has shown willingness to vote with the other side, while Nadia has not really. Nadia's been staying stuck with her 6 and her Zaman. Like, Ranjan's not going to vote for Nadia, because I don't even think those two have had a conversation at all. Ricky's probably still pissed off that Nadia hasn't told him about Tina yet, so I don't see him voting for her. Vivian has tried countless times to work with Nadia, and Nadia has just been like, nope. So I don't see Vivian voting for her. Xavier is like 50-50, it depends on who she's up against. I don't see Haley voting for Nadia if she's on the jury, and I don't see Abby voting for Nadia if Abby's on the jury.
I feel like what Nadia lacks at this point in the game is like agency. She has not had actual like agency in a lot of votes. Like, she has her closest allies. Like, yeah, Valen was like, I'm fine if Nadia goes home. That means you're not in a good spot. If your closest allies are saying like, I don't care if this person goes home, that's a problem. And so I think that, yeah, Nadia has lost a lot of steam and a lot of momentum. And like, if she would have carried on how she was like early game, like bring in that puppet master energy, and like, even it, like, I think I could say this about Abby too. Like, she hasn't had any agency, but she's had to fight to stay every round, so it is a little bit different. Like, she's still continuing to show like why she deserves to win, why she deserves to be there. But I feel like for Nadia, it's like, you know, her extra vote got stolen, which was like tragic, but that happened. And she's just like, at every turn, I feel like people are just cutting her down, and she's not like fighting to stay alive so much as like be like potentially going home at the cost of pretty much no one.
I think that's her strategy. I think she's trying to come off like that.
Okay, well then it's not a good one.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
that's not a good one.
I'm not saying it's a good one. I'm just saying I think that's how she is trying to come across.
Well, it's working.
Yeah.
So the immunity challenge.
Sorry, I just have to say quickly on Nadia. I'm gonna still live in my delusion that she's the winner of the season. That was my winner pick, and so far I'm doing great. So
I mean, yours is the only winner pick from the very beginning that's still in, so that's good on her. I changed mine, and both of Erin's have been voted off.
Well, my winner pick left, so.
Who was yours again? You said it was Xavier at the merge and Vivian at the very beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, the downfall of Dorit.
Yeah.
For me and production member TJ, who was in the challenge, were the only people who, like, when Abby walked into the room in her interview, we were like, now that is a Survivor player. We were like, because, like, no offense, Govan was like, I don't know about her. She seems too boring. And I was like, boring? I was like, this girl seems nuts. Like, we have to put her on. And we fought to put Abby on that cast.
And good thing you did.
So glad we did.
Wow.
Yeah. You fought
right now.
You fought more to Abby be cast than Nikhil in the entire season.
To be honest, I was pretty, at first, Nadia knows this, but at first I was not that high on Nadia being on the cast. Like, there was, she just came, in her interview, she, like, was very, like, businessy. Like, it felt, like, very formal, and I was like, is this what she's going to be like in the game? But then she obviously was not. But, like, how was I supposed to know that, like, from an interview?
Wow, our two puppet masters. Very polar optimizing for the hosts. Imagine if you did not cast them. What a season it might have been.
Well, I'll say this. The people that would have been in those spots, I think, were just as loopy. So
maybe for a future season if they're still in CMU.
Yeah, we brought some of those people in to future seasons.
Stay tuned for season 3 and 4 to see, so we can find out who they are. So out of nowhere, biggest shock of this episode, Abby wins an immunity challenge. What?
Icon. Sponge Queen.
That's Monet.
Thank you for the gift, Abby, of winning this challenge and making sure that this wasn't just an episode where you either had to play your idol or, like, it was all, is it Haley, is it Abby? Yeah. Thank God.
Well, I think that they would have split.
They would have split up between Haley and Abby, and then Abby probably would play her idol.
Left in that scenario is the question. Like, yes. They may have split.
No.
They may have split between Abby and Haley, but in a revote, if Abby plays an idol, Valen's not voting for Haley.
It really would depend on who they would have voted for in the split. Like, if they would have voted for, Nikhil or Nadia.
For Nikhil, because they probably would have realized. I think Abby and Haley. So the thing with Abby and Haley was that it's like Naomi said, they were so, at that point, they were so tied together that they started talking through all the scenarios that were happening. So they knew that if that was the final 6, they were going to just split the votes. And Haley obviously knew that Abby had the idol. And they planned around for those types of situations. What Abby didn't know was that Haley was obviously planning on cutting her, but like she knew, like, Abby was like, okay, like, does Haley really want to bring me to the end? Like, who would? And she's right. Like, who would?
The viewers.
Yeah.
So Abby wins final 6, which guarantees her final 4, thanks to that idol that she refused to play on anyone.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look what happened to Ethan. He played his idol at Xavier and he went home like the next round. So.
And then obviously Haley's the obvious target, but Haley has a secret weapon, and her name is Valen. So Valen does not want to vote off Haley. And targets Nikhil. Because she still wants to keep the Zaman people together. Oh yeah, Abby goes around questioning people's games, like, are you playing to win or are you just playing to get to the end?
I love that because I genuinely think that those are two very different styles of gameplay between playing to the end. Like, they genuinely, like, They genuinely are. And once you get down to final 6, like, yeah, you have to be playing to win. Because you're close enough to the end that it's like, if you're playing to win, you will figure out a way there.
It's thought-provoking. It's she says it to Nadia, and Nadia's like, I don't, like, it's the number one thing you can do is fuck with people mentally. Like, that's the number one thing you can do in Survivor. And it's this, to me, it reminds me of, like, in Survivor 42, where Omar, like, plans the whole thing about High, where it's like, if you want to fuck with people, do it. Like, just say things that will mess with their head, and they will make irrational decisions that will benefit you if you can get in there. And, like, I think that maybe Abby didn't do like as necessarily to the full effect that Omar did it, but I think that she is down the right path of, like, hey, why are you thinking about this? What are you thinking about? Why is this, like, a good move for you? I don't think it's a good move for you, because that's your power. Is, you can threaten to go to the jury and not vote for you, but you can, in the game, make something happen. I think it's a great demonstration from Abby.
Yeah, she says it to Nadia, she says it to Valen, and both are, like, kind of like, well, I want to make it to the end and then see where it goes from there. It's never that easy. Jury members always have preconceived thoughts, like, I want to vote for this person. I'll hear you out, but I probably still won't vote for you. And especially with this jury.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is I think that, like, because we did get the same, like, yeah, pretty much the same answer from both of them, but I think that the reality for each of them is so different. Like I said, I think that Nadia has kind of, like, yeah, I agree with you, Lee. I think, honestly, of this final 5, like, Nadia might have the worst chance because she has just lost so much agency and momentum. Whereas Valen, like, has been building relationships and, like, literally pissing nobody off and, like, has probably the best social game of this cast. So I think it's really interesting because her playing to get to the end is through those social bonds. Like, it's not through anything strategic. So she is just playing to get to the end and hope that once she gets there, she made enough friends along the way to win.
Yeah, I think out of the final 5, Valen has the best shot of winning. Haley's a close second. It really depends on their speech. That's a case where it's like, it depends on their speeches and the jury's thoughts, but I think Valen's definitely the highest, most likely person to win. Haley close second. Oh yeah, why was there, like, weird music when Nadia was talking about flipping on Henry? It was like the music when you're playing, like, somebody saying something dumb.
I have no idea. I'd have to go back and watch. I have no idea what you're talking about, to be honest.
The Dodo music, you mean?
Yeah, it was like that. Rewatch it.
I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, so she's talking about, like, flipping on Henry, but she says it's too early to flip on Henry. It's final 6.
That's probably why I put them. I was like, clown.
Like, it's final 6, girl. I think the time has come to flip on. When's the right time to flip on Henry?
They're just so worried about Haley and Abby, which, like, as they should be.
Yeah, I feel it's probably because we've seen a lot of confessions of Haley being like, I'm ready to flip on Abby, but she's not, like, saying.
I think that's in the end why they decided to keep Haley, is because they figured, like, Haley had the best chance of, like, convincing Abby to do something, like, kind of weird.
Yeah, so, yeah, because Valen's, like, pretty much like, I'm not voting Haley. I'm not going to vote off Haley.
I think it's so funny because they're going to have to, like, they're going to have to vote off one of themselves now because Abby has an idol. So, like.
Well, I mean, they could just vote off Haley.
At final 5, if she or Abby doesn't win the immunity challenge, they can just easily be like, I didn't want to vote off Haley this round, but I'm okay voting her off next because I can vote off my Zaman people.
Yeah,
but they can't successfully split the vote, right? Because it would be like, in some world, right? Let's say Abby and Haley vote together. That's 2. At final 5, and so you're left with Valen, Henry, and Nadia. So let's say Henry and Nadia. Let's say Henry and Nadia vote for Abby, and Valen votes for Haley. Not likely, but whatever. Abby still plays her idol, and then their 2 votes send somebody home. Like, there's no world where they can successfully split the vote, so you're still in a decent position. You just got to figure out who it's going to be.
The only way I can see them successfully splitting, and it's a hypothetical, if it's like they convince. Now, this is if Haley did not know Abby had an idol, so they made Haley and Valen vote for Abby, but then like Henry and Nadia vote for Haley, and then Abby votes for Henry. So if it was like that situation, but that's only if Haley knows Abby has an idol, so she wouldn't do that. Unless she can convince Abby to be like, hey, they know you have an idol, they're all voting me, so you should play your idol on me. Unless it's like that situation, that way they can split the votes, but it's definitely most likely one of them is leaving. As Zaman will finally be leaving at Final 5. But which Zaman? Oh yeah, Haley pretends to know about Abby's idol. Abby, more crying. Wants to vote for Nikhil. Henry couldn't. Oh yeah, Valen explains, we talked about this, so it's like, Valen kind of explains to Abby and Haley how Henry could not win, saying that he doesn't have as much social connections. Like, he's Mr. Mysterio. Like, he doesn't have that many ties to the jury.
And I think that's like, yeah, that shows you exactly the lens through which like Valen is viewing the game. Like, she is literally just looking at it as like, I think that I'm going to win because of my social connections. So because that's like her winning criteria and like her winning thing, then she figures that like that's kind of what the jury is looking for. So that's all she's going to be seeing in other people, which is totally fair. And honestly, like, I don't believe that you should go to Final Tribal Council thinking that you're going to lose. Like, absolutely, you need to build your story. You need to believe that you should win. Otherwise, why should the jury believe that you should win? And so if she thinks that that's the winning criteria, then, like, that's all that she has to convince the jury of. And then she can beat him.
That's a good point.
Yeah, a great way to, like, get a jury is just, like, own the game you played. Don't be ashamed of, like, oh, I'm sorry I voted you off. I didn't want to, but I had to. It's just like, yeah, I voted you off and I was nice about it. Sorry that you got upset. That's a horrible way of saying it. I don't know what I'm saying. There's a reason why I've not won a Survivor.
My question right now is, who do you guys think voting out Nikhil is the best move for? Like, obviously we know that Nikhil is against Abby, but who else is this really beneficial for? In like, is it beneficial for Valen, you know?
Oh.
It's beneficial for Nadia because she has a guaranteed vote at the jury now.
True.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't vote Nikhil off.
I think even if she did, Nikhil would still vote for Nadia over everyone in the Final 5.
Yeah, maybe. I think something like, I guess just the Zaman 3 to be able to stay together and like make sure that like there is somebody that's not going to try to defect or like flip to the other side. I don't know. But they like at Final 6, if you're a tight 3, then you shouldn't really have to worry about that anyway. Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it was like a great move for anyone other than Abby.
I think it's good for Haley, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and Haley.
Yeah, it's good for Abby and Haley. Maybe it's a little bit good for Valen and Henry, probably mostly Valen, just to be like, I didn't work or rely on Zaman 3 the whole time. Just be like, I did deviate from like Nadia. I did make my own thing.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can use that argument when you voted out Nikhil.
Okay, so with that being said, Nikhil is gone. Will we give him a little memorial and then quickly wrap up with the final 5 thoughts?
Yeah.
So what were our thoughts of Nikhil? I would say the whole season. What were our thoughts of Nikhil these past 2 episodes?
I think Nikhil...
He existed.
Yeah.
He was there.
I don't know that, I don't know if he knew what he was getting into, honestly.
Like, the worst part is his interview was like low-key good. Like, really good.
There's always people that just flop, even if they had a great interview. And I mean, yeah, I guess Nikhil was one of those. Because even like, yeah, preseason, I liked his preseason like content. I was like, yeah, Nikhil looks pretty cool. But he just didn't seem to be as invested as all of these other people clearly were. and it just he felt kind of out of place in this cast. And I think that when he was in power, I think when he was the swing vote, it was a little bit more exciting, and like I think that he did play that well, but it also kind of made me feel like there was a lot of lost potential there that we just didn't get to see.
I will say, in my opinion, I think that there are a couple positives about Nikhil. And I will say that Nikhil never stopped playing, even though like maybe he didn't film himself a lot and he was, not always like the leader of the pack. Nikhil was like talking to people, right? He was voting with people. He was in an alliance. Like he did participate in the game, like to an extent. And we've seen some goats who just don't give a flying fuck about what happens to them in the game. Like, and we've seen goats like I think about Nate from Michigan 4, where like Nate was just like, what the fuck ever happens to me, I don't care. Or even like Kat, we love an icon like Kat. At least Kat filmed herself talking. But Nikhil, I think, was thinking, especially towards the end, about winning the game, which I think is more than you can say about some people, right? And so, kudos to him, like he was participating in the game a little bit, and like some people don't even bother to do that. So there he goes. He just never really made the right moves. In the end.
I think my comment underneath the episode kind of sums up my thoughts about Nikhil. About effing time. So with Nikhil gone, we have our final 5. 3 Zaman, 2 Varanti, Abby, Haley, Henry, Nadia, Valen. So do we want to make prediction on like 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st? And maybe like quick reason why?
Yeah.
Who wants to start off?
That sounds like a good wrap up. I can start. I'm gonna say Abby is obviously not going at 5th. Truthfully, I don't think Haley is either. I'm going to put Nadia at 5th. I'm going to say, tragically, Abby probably goes 4th. And we have a Haley, Valen, Henry final 3. And I'm going to say Haley is robbed 3rd place, Henry in 2nd, and Valen wins. That's my prediction for the finale.
Wow, I like that. I feel like maybe Henry might go. So here's what I think. All right, let me just make really really bold out of nowhere ass fucking claim. I think Haley or Abby win the immunity. They know that they can't vote the other. Henry goes home. Right? You keep Nadia in the game because you think you can beat her. Valen's close enough to Haley. Vote her out. Henry goes. Final 4, I think vote out Abby. I think it's a final 3, Valen, Nadia, Haley. And I think that it's Haley and Valen vying for the top spot. Who could win? I can't say, because I think that Haley's a great speaker. I think that Nadia has a lot of strengths as well. I think Nadia could pull a couple votes. Maybe we get like a tie like in freaking Major Conflict, they go wild, where you're like, who votes for Tim? But people vote for Tim. And I think that then Haley and Valen, I don't know who wins in that situation. I would root for all of them at the same time, Then Nadia wins because I need a winner pick to win.
All right, before Lee goes, I guess if we weren't already at this point, I would play the opening intro little sequence, but I think we are over time.
Well, for me, I think Henry goes 5th. I think Nadia's 4th. I think Abby gets 3rd. Haley is 2nd. And then I think Valen wins. The reason I think Abby gets 3rd is because the amount of time Shane has been saying this is going to be a bitter, emotional jury, and that the jury hates her. So I don't see Abby getting many votes. I can see her getting maybe Vivian's.
That would literally devastate me if Abby was in the final 3 and did not win.
I don't see her winning. I see her being like, I made her comparison to Sarah with Idols. I can see her being another Sarah, but with actually getting votes to win, unlike Sarah.
If that happens, I would have to visit each juror's house and talk.
Just a little meeting.
Just talk a little bit,
Okay, So why do you make terrible decisions in life?
Right.
So that's my prediction. And we will see you guys. Well, the final of Sky Survivor is premiering June. It's July, God's sake. It's premiering on Tuesday at 9 p.m. EST.
Yeah.
Or 2 o'clock in the morning GMT if you're over here.
Sorry, I made it an hour later because I want to be there when it starts selfishly, and I have class until 9. So.
Well, to be fair, even if it was at 8, I would still be asleep because that's 1 in the morning. Potentially. Math. And we will find out our winner, who will join Olivia in the Scotty Survivor Hall of Fame winners. And we will.
I have to say, if there's 2 female winners of Scotty Survivor, it's iconic. Like, if there are 2 women who win, like, in a row to start this, like start the game, incredible, iconic, best Survivor ever.
And I believe it can happen, since I believe Henry has the 3rd highest chance to win.
See, it's gonna be great.
So we'll see you guys not directly after. If everyone can stay on a little bit just to discuss scheduling. Because in true Scotty Survivor fashion, it's going to be a while till afterwards. I mean, we're getting this. I was expecting, again, to wait 10 months to get the final like last season, but we're getting it very quickly.
Okay, I was having a crisis. I didn't. Okay, let me just explain what happened. I was not supposed to be editing last season. It was not supposed to be me. I was not involved in any way until about halfway through the season. So I was not prepared to take over that finale. And then I started working about 45 hours a week, which I had always planned to do. So there was no way that I was getting that done in the amount of time that I needed to, because I was working with kids that were 8 to 15 years old.
Oh, sorry.
This time, I knew what I was signing myself up for. I made sure that I had enough time, and it is going to be done because it's done. Basically, I just need to add some subtitles, but that's about it.
Okay, once the subtitles are added, we'll know who wins, and we'll see you all next time for another Scotty Survivor recap. Bye! And the broad